Good evening, everyone. Stan here, and thank you for joining me for another hour plus of improvisational cartooning on Random Encounters. Now, for those of you who may be joining us for the first time, what I do on this show is I use prompts drawn from random encounter tables like the kind you find in tabletop role playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, and suggestions from people in the chat room like Lala. Hi, Lala. Hi, and Lala's indicating Lene is there too, which is great. I haven't seen the note yet. But yes, I take those and I draw cartoons based on what those prompts say. Now, while I have a rough idea what some of the topics are, I don't know what the prompts are going to be, particularly anything that you all might suggest from the chat room. And so this is it's a fun exercise for me. I hope that what will also happen during this time is that some of you will take the time to pull out some paper or your favorite electronic drawing implements and draw along with me. Either draw the same prompts that I am, or try and draw your version of what I'm drawing, or draw whatever it is you'd like to draw. I'm a big proponent of drawing just for the fun of drawing, and that's what this show is all about. So, having said all that, let's get right into it, because I know that when I take too much time, I can just blabby blab 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 go on forever, and no one needs that. All right, so let's see what's going on here. I'm gonna switch our view up to bring on the view from my iPad. Now, for those of you who don't know, I do all of this on an iPad Pro using the app called Procreate. I'm not sponsored in any way by Apple or Procreate, though I'm open to the idea if either company wants to give me a call. Um, I do pretty much all of my professional work on with these tools. I love them, and therefore I want to give them a little promotion here as I do it. Okay, so here are our random encounter charts for this week. Let's see what we got. We're gonna pull up the die roller and see what it gives us. So first, a who. Once, twice, third time, four. Four is our first who, and that is a kenku. For those who don't know, a kenku is a bird-like creature. Based on Japanese mythology, it's kind of like a crow person or a raven person. So that's our who, but what is our kenku going to be doing? So let's have a look here and see what the dice tell us. Once, twice, third time's a charm, and it says six. Six kenku and a tire swing. Okay. All right. I can handle that. That sounds good. Hi, Roger. And again, hi, Lala. Glad you all could join me. So we're going to do kenku on a tire swing. So the first thing I do is turn on round one, turn off the tables there, make sure I'm on the sketch layer, and I'm going to turn on a little blue. I do my sketching in blue. That's a habit I developed uh, back when I was doing my work on inking. I don't want ink bleed, do I? Did they change the name of these? Wow, every once in a while, oh, I want Studio Pen. Here we go. Every once in a while, when they update the, well, that's what the problem was. I was on Eraser. That's why that looks so funny. But it's still true to say that every once in a while, when Procreate updates the app, they change the names of the of some of the brushes and such. Usually there aren't so many changes that it matters, but every once in a while they'll make a change, and my iPad will update, and it confuses me. All right, I'm gonna shrink down here and zoom in so I can do a little better layout. One of the things about Kenku is that although they are crow or maybe corvid based creatures, they can't fly naturally. Let's see. I think I want to grab this and move it a little from where I've got it. Now, again, one of the beauties of working digitally is you can move things easily. I think I want to move him up a little higher up on the swing, the arc of the swing. That is. You know what? Also, right now what I've got looks like very much like an adult Kenku. And I'm going to erase this. Erase that. I don't want this to be more like a kid Kenku. A Kenku kid. And then I'm going to erase the tree bit here so we can do it. We're going to have one of his friends pushing him. There we go. That'll do. We'll come back and put the tree in here. Just roughly. Again, I want this sketch to be enough to get me going, but not so much that I'm filling in the whole thing. All right. So I want that like that and there. Okay. That looks good. Now Kenku also often are shown wearing clothing. I'm not 100% sure whether or not I'll have these Kenku just be showing their feathers or probably wearing a jerkin. Okay. All right, looking good. Oh, look at lots of people up here. I look up, I see Marcus is in the room. Hello, Marcus. Thank you for joining us. I see Dave, which goes along with Linnea, which means the Lemon family's in the house. Hello, Lemon family. Should be launching himself so it can fly like kids, like jump off. Yeah, you know what? I thought about that, and the fact that they can't fly the same way kids can't fly is holding me back from having him launch himself off. Instead, I'm going to have him here lying through it in the tire, pretending that he's flying. All right, so we're going to come up to the lines layer so that when I'm done, I can turn off these blue lines. And we're going to start drawing. You'll see now. I guess one thing to point out as I draw, you see those skips showing up. That's because actually my iPad is getting a little long in the tooth. It's about time for me to consider buying a new one, and it's starting to have some issues where when I do these longer lines, it's no longer always following through the entire line. Which, isn't so terrible, but I'd rather it work where it does, pick up every line I draw. So we'll see. Maybe later on in the year. It's an expensive piece of machinery, to be sure, but it is part of my professional outfit, so I've got to make sure I spend the money to keep it sharp. All right. We'll see. Now, I don't know if you could see all that. I had that on there to begin with. All those lines were kind of in there. I could see them. I don't know if you could. But that's why I like to work in sketchy form, so that while I see it, perhaps it can still be a surprise to you. Oops, that's not right. All right. Okay. We're going to have his friend here, giving him a push. Like so. And then let's just get a quick idea for a branch coming out here. Nice thing about working digitally is I can just draw the whole branch and then not worry about it until I find where I need the connections are and then just erase it. Now, do the same thing when you're sketching with the sketchy light drawing that you do at the start of a drawing, and then you decide later where you need to draw completely and where you can leave the details, or where the rope passes over the branch is what I'm talking about. I could draw the whole branch and very easily just remove it. It's like it was never there. When I'm working digitally, if I'm working in physical media, I have to figure out where things go more ahead of time so that I don't draw the branch where the rope is going to be. Again, that's just one of those little advantages that we have in this digital age that's more of a convenience than anything else. It's not like it was such a great weight to have to plan out ahead of time, or with whiteout, or just kind of white paint to go over if I did draw somewhere I didn't want to be. Either an eraser or a little whiteout would take care of that. Okay. And we've got a nice little drawing of some Kenku on a tire swing. I'm going to turn off. Now I said I'd put that on a lines layer so I could turn off that sketch, and suddenly it all disappears, and all we have left are the nice black lines. Nice solid lines. Add a few extra details here and there just to give it a little more feeling. There we go. Looking pretty good, huh? What do you think? We look like, we got some more people in the room. Here's Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Call Meduk. Meduk? M-E-D. Is it Meduk? Do you think 16-year-olds with metal bats could beat a single silverback gorilla in a fight? No. But that's a really strange question to ask. For some reason, it's evoking images of a separate piece. 3-part harmony. I'm not immediately grokking what you're referring to with a separate piece. But might just be that I'm tired because it's been a longish day. All right, well, let's drop some color in here quickly. And then we can go on and do a second one because I think this is looking pretty good. All right, we'll start with our ravens. And we're going to use a color them using purple. Now, I'm going to come and use it. Gloaming is the brush I like to use for these, for the coloring part of this. And one of the reasons that I'm using purple is you have a lot of times look at crows or ravens, and you think black would be the color to use, and you wouldn't be wrong. That's the color we see most predominantly. But when you start making everything black, it really makes the image. I don't know. I mean, it'd be stupid for me just to say dark, but it makes it. It makes it feel heavy. But you can use a lot of other colors to represent black. Sometimes a dark blue or a dark purple. Here, I think dark purple is the way to go. And one of the reasons is that I think that if you look at a lot of crows and ravens, and the sun glints off their uh, feathers, you will find that they have kind of a purple sheen to them. All right, so here we go. I'm going to use an orange for their legs and feet. I'm going to make maybe some kind of greenish color for their tunics. Then we're going to use a dark blue to represent the black of the tire. Now, I know we're talking about it, right? And I'm telling you that these are blues and purples. But I bet that when you step back, if you just look at the picture, your eye reads them as being kind of black. You get the color that they're referring to, and it certainly is the purple less so. But the blues, the dark blues, very often you'll find blues are used to represent things that normally one might do as black. Okay, let's get this tree colored in. And I like the gloaming brush. I think I explain this most weeks because it has this feeling almost like a markery, crayony feeling to it. And that means that when I color it in, if I don't fill things up completely, it still looks kind of natural. It looks like you're just kind of having some fun coloring with a crayon. There we go. And we'll use put some blue sky because it's a beautiful summer's day. Again, today's activities, today's what choices are all kind of summer fun themed. We're closing in on the end of the summer here, and like everyone else, I want to get a last bit of summer fun in before fall comes, and I have to start thinking about things like that. Okay, let's just come and add a little extra kind of take a little stab at adding something that's like a shadow to give everything just a little bit of touch of depth. What I do is I grab the color that I was working with before and I come here, and usually with this circle thing I pull down into the right a little, somewhere down in southeast, southeast of the original color. Gets you a good color that'll serve as at least an impromptu shadow color. Same thing, come here, southeast a bit. want to be dark enough to show up and but look like it's the same color, just a little darker. What I didn't add in here was I put a stripe on the shirt so that I could give them a little extra color. All right. Oh, no, and I want the leaves also. Add these in, and that, again, just those little touches give it a nice, um, just a hint of extra detail. And the beautiful thing about doing art of any kind, those of you who are doing art of your own, is to remember that you don't have to put everything in there. You need to leave things. It's good. It's good to leave things for um, the reader's eye to fill in, and by putting just those. Let's zoom in really close here. I haven't done anything particularly leaf-like or something that makes it feel especially uh, 3D, anything specific. But when you pull back and look at it, it gives your eye the appearance. Your eye interprets it as what you want it to be. So I take advantage of that, and by adding these hastily added little scribbles, I get the effect of it looking much more detailed than than it actually is. Like I spent more time working on it than I actually have. Here we go. All right. Well, now I'm going to come back to the first layer again. Go back to the black. Go back to my inking pen. Back to the lines layer. And stick a little stan on it. And we're going to call this complete. We've got a nice little... Oh, you know what? No, not quite complete. I'm also going to tone... Now, I have... This is a me problem. Maybe you never need to worry about this, but I picked all those colors because they looked right. But now when I look at it, they look much stronger than they did in my head. I picked a very strong version of the color I was looking for. So because this is on a white background, I can just come into that color layer and change the opacity, make them a little bit see-through. And that's going to lighten up the colors. So it's a little more white into them. So I think about 15%. Maybe not even. Maybe closer to 10%. Those colors are pretty good. Going with 12% is exactly what we've got there, but there we go. We've got some Kenku playing on a tire swing. Let's see, Dave says, I'm going to now take a break and look at what you said and have a little sip. Dave says, Separate Places, a short story we had to suffer through in high school English about kids at a private school. The climax is a scene with boys in a tree getting ready to jump in the river. If three people with feeling and three-part harmony. Oh, yeah, three people feeling. Yes, the other one is Dave quoting Alice's Restaurant to me, which I should have gotten, really. Come on, let's be serious. I should have gotten that one. I'm not familiar with A Separate Piece. I guess I didn't have to read that in my high school. Every once in a while, it's funny. I come up with, everyone in New York State, where I grew up, had to read more or less the same things in their various classes. And so there are short stories and such that are common, whether you went to the same school or not. But it was a surprise when I got to college first, but really when I got out into the world and was interacting more and more with people from other states and other countries, that what I assumed were everybody's read this stories were things that were just common in the New York curriculum, and many people hadn't read those stories, and I hadn't read the stories that they all had to read. So it's fun to find out what really is common and what isn't. So I don't know this a separate piece. You're not making a hard sell on it, though. I'll have to look it up later. All right, there's one drawing done. Let's move on and do drawing number 2. Close that up. Reopen our tables. How are you guys doing? I'm gonna take a little break. How are you guys doing? make sure I interact with my audience a little. Is everyone having a good summer? You all looking forward to the cooling down in the fall? I know some people are already going back to school. I don't have kids, and I'm not going back to school, so really the weather is a big change for me. Um, we're gonna stop doing summer themed encounters here on the what side pretty soon, so I don't know if I may uh, make it a point to pick out the ones in particular I'd like to try, or maybe some of them will stick into the fall too. I'm sure some of them will. Road trip certainly could be any time of year. Uh, Playing the sprinkler is really a summery thing. Anyway, let's see here. What's our next encounter going to be? Once, twice, third time. 2 is our who, which is a lich. Ooh, for those who don't know, a lich is an undead creature. It's an undead, it's like a desiccated, someone who's given up all of their humanity for power and now is nothing left but a rotted corpse seething with magical energy. Gus is starting midterms. Midterms? Can't. It's not even out of August. How can he be starting midterms? All right, our lich, our evil lich. Last time we did a lich, I think he was speeding and had a car carried by skeletons. So that might have been a necromancer. All right, come on, once, twice, third time. What? What is our lich doing? What is the lich doing? The lich is playing in the sprinkler. Oh, well, see, the dice heard me talking, and so they're delivering. He started in July. Says school, regular term of school started in July? Man, that's crazy. I'm sitting here with people starting in August, and when I went to school, the school term for grade school, kindergarten through high school, didn't start until after Labor Day most months, most years, unless Labor Day was very late. So it wasn't. We didn't start until the first Tuesday in September. Now almost everyone is starting before Labor Day, and lots of places are starting in early August, and as Dave is telling me, sometimes even July. Wow. Yeah, Jimmy says college. Yeah, college was different. College always had to report to college in August, and earlier if you were in any kind of like if you were part of the band or you'd had any responsibilities on campus. It was sometimes early August or late July, but no, the idea that grade school kids are in school already and approaching midterms, that's just mind-boggling to me. All right, let's see. We're doing a lich playing in a sprinkler. So we're going to come up to round 2. We're going to turn round 2 on. And we're going to go to the sketch layer. Come back to our nice blue color. Turn off the tables. Okay, so a lich playing in the sprinkler. Now, like I say, a lich is a... Zoom in again so I can do a little sketching. Lich is a Guy who's given up his humanity for magical power. That doesn't mean he can't have fun, right? Hmm. All right, so now we've got kind of a rough. He's running through the sprinkler, and I think we're going to put him in one of those old style swimsuits, stripy. A lich will look a lot like a zombie, except he's got the big difference being he's not he's not out to eat brains, and he's got a lot of magical power. All right, we're gonna put the Maybe I want to move the sprinkler to the other side. Like that, yeah. Because then it's got the water springing over him. There's a hose coming up to it. Maybe we'll give him a wand just to for for magical purposes. Hope it's not sprinkling holy water. Yeah, Dave, I thought about that. Dave said, I hope it's not sprinkling holy water because as an undead creature, uh, many liches uh, are hurt by holy water, just like vampires might be. Um, I would. I'd definitely use that as a gag if this was more than a single panel, or as I think about it, if I can come up with a way to. So he's running through the sprinkler. I'm thinking. Trying to think of other fun things to add to this, and I'm not immediately coming up with any. And I really like that idea of like. Sorry, my screen has a little bit of dirt on it, and you can't see it, but it's driving me nuts. Uh, what could I do? What could I do? Let's erase some of that. Grab this, make it bigger. because I think I'm not going to add much more to this. Okay. I thought about it for a little bit. There's some good ideas out there. None of them are gelling up here, which is not at all a knock on the idea. Um, Always think of David Lopan when I think of a lich. Yes, David Lopan from Big Trouble in Little China. For those of you who aren't on the same page as Dave and me, he is definitely a great iteration, a um, very much a lich, and the kind of one that most people might be aware of, even if they've never played Dungeons and Dragons or any other fantasy game that has a lich. That guy who's lived 1,000, 2,000 years. All right, here we go. That out as we. It's got a little, almost a Beetlejuicy thing going on here. Maybe the striped shirt isn't helping with that feeling. Again, he's all skin and bones. Looking good. He's got around his neck, though. Here's the thing that David Lopan doesn't have, but most Dungeons and Dragons liches do, is they've got their souls in a little thing that's generally referred to as a phylactery. I'm going to make it a little hourglass chain around his neck. And he's got his wand. Put in some water sprays like that. Of course, he's hopping through. Then there's the hose coming out of it. And we've got a lich who's running through the sprinkler. Yeah, yeah, looking pretty good there. I guess it's not looking good down here. Over here on this leg, wound up happening with the shorts and those lines have lined up so that when you pull back and look at it, where the shorts end and where the leg begins is not clear. So we're gonna have to come in here and do that. See what a difference that made? That's the kind of thing you want. You want to make sure when you're doing drawings that your lines always tell the story clearly. Don't confuse the issue. Really is what it is. There are a lot of times when I will add a little something or take away a little something just because, not because the lines are wrong, but because they're confusing. They don't speak clearly to the viewer and leave him or her wondering what's really going on there. And once you lead them to start thinking, well, that never ends well. You want to show them what you want to show them, and not leave any questions up. Let's just add some more droplets of water. The more I do this, the more I really am thinking that holy water thing is funny. That would make a funny 2 or 3 panel cartoon. I'm thinking very much in a Sergio Aragonés kind of style, where you see the lich run through the sprinkler and start to burn, and then come around and find out that the far end of the hose here is hooked up to a holy water spigot, something like that. Or there's a priest casting bless over the spigot coming out of the house, something like that. That would be funny. So very good comedic idea. Good thinking. Just I am not the skilled practitioner to bring that idea to fruition in a single panel in 20 minutes. So, not to be too hard on myself. All right, so here we go. That's our lich running through the sprinkler. Let me just add a couple little details here and there. A couple little extra lines. And then we can come in and put some color in. All right, go to the color line. Make sure that we come over to the gloaming brush. And I think that we did purple. I very often will do undead with a slight purpley tinge, but since we use purple for the Kenku last time, let's use kind of an icky green color for the skin. Weirdly, it's not that far off from the color I gave the Kenku's shirts, but we won't worry about that. Okay. I could go with just a pale gray skin. Let's fool around with this a little. We got time, right? You're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Let's see if instead of that, what if it was That's a little too light. Come in for a gray. Super pale. I'm gonna go super pale. Yeah, let's. You know what? I think here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna split the difference here. I'm gonna use this kind of grayed out version of a flat Caucasian text flesh color as my base color, and then I'm gonna use green for highlights. I'm gonna use a greenish gray for the highlights and shadows, and see what that gets us. Right, okay. Now we come back to that green. I want that. Maybe a little darker. That. And now if we use this to do shadows, that really gives that idea of a sickly skin. I'm not adding too much, a little here and there. And just by adding that highlight color, it changes what your brain sees in the main color. Now pulls it down to be more of the whole thing to be more greenish, more unnatural. Let's see. Okay, and then what color should we make the bathing suit? Maybe red stripes? Like that? Yeah, it's alright. And then we're going to come back again and go to the yellow. Give highlights on the hair. We'll just do that. It makes the whole hair seem dingy. Even though we're just adding a little bit of yellow highlight. Most of it's still white, but now it looks very dingy. Gold chain with that phylactery around his neck. We come in here, dark green for the hose. Like so many garden hoses are. We're going to pick another light green for the grass. Blue for the puddles. And the water drops. Now, you can't really see a lot of those blue dots, not individually, but add a bunch of them, and it just gives that whole thing a bluish tinge. very subtle. And then we're going to come in here for the sprinkler. There we go. Again, I'm going to come in here and lighten those colors up a little bit, just a little bit. 10%, 9%. There we go. And we've got, oh, I didn't color the wand. Got to color the wand. And we've got a lich playing in the sprinkler. Night, Linnea. Thank you for stopping in. Got to get all the summer Otter Pop colors in there. Yeah. That's. Hadn't really thought about that. Definitely Otter Pop colors. And they are the colors of summer, aren't they? All right, so I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to go to the Line Slayer, and come back to my inking pen, and put my stand on it. And there we go. We got a lich playing in the sprinkler. Pretty good. Pretty good, if I do say so myself. Great. So now let's do one more. We'd like to do 3 here when we can. So we're going to close up round 2 here and come back to the tables. And once again, I'm going to take a short little break. I already grabbed a little sip, but let's have another one. Is there anything on this list that you're really hoping comes up? Maybe we can lean on the dice a little. Like I say, I like to give the people what they want. So if there's anything on here that's particularly calling to you, let me know. And if you're watching this on the replay, put it in a comment. Send it to me. If it doesn't come up this week, maybe I can do it next week. Or I can. Maybe it's like, I don't know. Maybe I can. If there's a lot of people voting for something, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm just magnanimous that way. What can I say? The ice cream cone says, "Here's Jimmy." All right, we had the ice cream truck a couple of weeks ago. Maybe we'll get the ice cream cone. I do like the ice cream cone, and I had some thoughts about who might interact well with it. But let's come here and see what the dice say, shall we? Once, twice, third time's a charm, and 5 is the number. 5 is an owl bear. Owl bear and ice cream cone. Let's see what the dice say for the 6. 6 is tire swing. We've already had that, so we gotta go. We gotta go to the audience because we don't want to do the tire swing again. So let's see what we got to think about it. So an owl bear, which hasn't come up here in quite a while, is a big bear with the head of an owl. If you don't know what one is, the name really sells it. Ice cream next week. No, it's okay, Jimmy. Let's think about it a little. That's part of the process here, is to come up with an idea. It takes an unexpected prompt and figure out a way to make it work in you know, 20 minutes or less. So let's see. Um, I'm going to zoom in. So an owl bear has got the head of an owl and the body of a bear. Really, that's the whole shtick. And I'm not saying we're going to keep with this one, but I'm going to put them up here just so we have an idea what we're dealing with. Woohoo! So we may use this and because I'm thinking that maybe what we'll do is have the owl bear scaring off some kids who dropped their ice cream cones so the owl bear could eat them. No, that seems mean. What if instead of that, we'd have a kid who's friendly with an owl bear? Owl bears are big. Let me get rid of that head there. We're gonna have a big old owl bear. Got big eyes. And we could have a little kid who's sharing their ice cream cone with the owl bear. That sounds cute. Now you can't see anything. It's got so much blue going on there that you can't possibly see what I'm thinking. Here we go. All right, let's grab that and make it bigger. Now, maybe the owl bear will be sitting so we can get this a little bigger on the page. There we go. Ah, that's cute. All right, let me just put a couple of little other things in here for my own reference. One, two, three. Yes. Oh. How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? Let's find out. 1, 2, 3. 3. The world may never know. All right, that's looking. It's looking all right. Let's see. What can we maybe do to this little girl here? Make her a little more interesting. I know. It'll be a little hard to see there, but I have an idea. I have an idea, and I'm gonna make it happen. All right, here we go. Let's get this one done. Let's start. With the lines that we're most certain of. What a nice little girl sharing her ice cream with an owl bear. We got an owl bear. It's got an owl head and a bear's body, so we're gonna come in here and add bits here and there. Sorry, sometimes I do that. When I'm talking to myself, I'll start a sentence, and since I know the end of it, I just don't say it out loud. And occasionally I forget that you folks are out there listening to me now, and me finishing sentences in my head is really not going to do you a lick of good. Thank you, Lala. Thank you for those kind words. And while you folks are watching me, perhaps you want to go and click like on whatever channel you're watching this on, whether it's a like or a heart. Certainly does me a lot of good to get people to click like and click subscribe if you aren't already. That would be terrific. I'd certainly appreciate it. Um, there's a lot of things that go on around here, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. Okay, now things get a little more. I've got to zoom in pretty tight here. Now, here's another thing one of the great things about working digitally is you can zoom in as close as you want. But one of the challenging things about it is you have to remember that, like right now, I could get super detailed in here with facial details and little things, but I need to remember that when I pull out, it's going to be a very small part. And the more details I put in there, the more confusing it's going to make it to people who look at it later. And we were talking about not wanting to cause confusion a little earlier. So I remember that although I can get very detailed doing this, I really want to keep it as simple as possible. And here is what I was going to do. My idea that I was talking about earlier is she, in her other hand, is going to be holding an owl bear, a little stuffed owl bear. Zoom out and see that looks like that'll be readable. There we go. That's detailed enough to get the joke in, or the image in, but simple enough. Like here again, I could come in and put all kinds of details on this owlbear, but when I zoomed out, they would just be a muddle. So I don't want that. I want it to be as simple as possible. There we go. I think we've got the makings of an owlbear having some ice cream. I don't think that there's a lot more we need to add to this. Maybe I'm in here and just make the channel a little owlier. And we've got, I think, okay, let's turn the sketch off so we can look at it. Oop, don't turn the lines off too. We've got an owlbear. Now I can come in here and make a few little extra changes to, again, to give those details that just make it a little more interesting. make sure that the lines that are meant to meet up do meet up. Couple of little extra detail lines in here to keep it interesting. I've got an owl bear and an ice cream cone. You know, I think I want to make this eye a little darker out here. Okay, what do you think? I think that looks pretty good. Oh, that eye closest to us is giving me problems. So you want anything? Look at the. So let's go back and look at that. What's giving me problems about that eye? Well, everything else, all the stuff we like about this are very smooth lines. Look at the back. Although I went in to add a little bit of roughness to it, it all had very smooth, confident lines. I talk a lot about drawing the lines you're confident in. This eye here, nice, very smooth, pretty confident. The eye next to it, not so much. That's my problem with it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to fix it. We want it to be owly, but confidently so. There we go. Now that it's smooth, we pull out, and it looks a lot better, although the two eyes don't really match enough. I'm going to make sure that the eyes look equally large and dark. There we go. Nope. There we don't quite go. There we go. That's it. That's it for sure. All right, let's put some color on that and call it good. So we're going to come back in again. We're going to go to the colors layer. We're going to switch to our gloaming pen. We're going to come here for a nice bear color. Now, usually it's not usually said, right? It's a mixture of owl and bear. And I've done a couple of drawings that play on the idea of different kinds of bears, but usually it's a grizzly bear or a brown bear that's the bear half of an owl bear. I was just talking about this the other day with some friends. I did a panda owl bear. That was pretty cute. But it certainly came off as a variant. You don't expect it. Suppose I've never seen anyone do a koala owl bear. Hmm. I think I want our little girl to be a little girl of color. Why? because I'm trying to be a little more inclusive in the things I do. All right, let's add some of those little shadows in there, and we're going to call it's well and truly good. And let's see, we need a little color to do the shadows on the owlbear here. It's not quite dark enough. There we go. Oh, that's what I didn't do right. Let's get rid of that. If we're going to have that lighter color on the belly, we should have that same lighter color on the tail. See? Details, details. It's little details like that don't really seem to matter that help to pull it off, to help to do the magic trick of creating a believable image, even in something as ridiculous as an owl bear eating ice cream. You want it to be believable. You want someone to look at that and just, believe it. Darker than that. There we go. And we're almost there. We're almost there. Stick with me, folks. Got a Ooh, what's that? Here we go. Got an owl bear and a little girl sharing an ice cream cone. I don't think we need any background for this. Let's just come in and put a little stand at the bottom. And we've got, let's tune the colors down just a little bit. Just a little bit. And we've got an owl bear and a little girl sharing an ice cream cone. Cute, cute stuff. Let's see what's going on here in the chat room. What have I missed while I had my head down? Stan is good at this and very inspiring. Oh, thank you, Lala. Making this one, making you think of gelato. I love gelato too. In fact, when I go off the air, I may go out and get some ice cream or gelato. Drawing this has made me a little hungry for some ice cream. I'm feeling like that owl bear. I don't really hear just draw, just here to support Stan, and I appreciate it. Here's Jimmy. I really appreciate that. However, I am also going to say I encourage everyone to draw, even if that's not your thing. Just maybe it is your thing. Maybe it's not your thing for work or to be great, just for fun. Drawing is fun. Um, let's see what else is going on here. Unless you're Vermeer. Yo, yes, yeah, no, Vermeer needs to get all the details right. An interesting documentary where this guy, yes, yes, I can't remember. So and so's Vermeer is the name of the documentary, and it's fascinating. I would highly recommend looking that up if you haven't seen it. He discovers the what is most likely the process that Vermeer used, and allows a guy who is no talent, never done any painting or art before, to paint a piece that uh, fools some experts into thinking that it could possibly be a Vermeer, or certainly people look at it and say that he has created a terrific piece of art that is in the same school as Vermeer simply by using this one piece of equipment. Let's see. It's cute. Thank you, Lala. I think it's cute too. I'm looking at this, and every once in a while I do one of these drawings, and then we finish here, and I put it aside with the idea that I'm going to take this, what's basically a quick sketch, right? Doing something in 20 minutes. These are good, but they're good for 20 minutes. Take them and do them again in a fully rendered, completely rendered form. And then I often will get stickers made out of those images or use them for something else. And I think this is an image I may go and redo. I think this one has some uh, has some pop to it. And I never would have thought to do a owlbear with an ice cream cone, a little girl with an ice cream cone, if it hadn't been for the randomness of the Random Encounter show. That's what it's all about. So let's see. Oh, let's see. Uh, uh, Most of my drawing is doodling on the player sheet during D&D. Yeah, and that's fun, isn't it? I bet it makes the other people laugh. See, drawing at whatever level you're comfortable with is fun, or whatever. Um, I always say that people often say that I don't draw well, but I say that if you draw something and it communicates your idea to someone else, then it's a good drawing. That's the purpose of drawing: to take an idea you have and communicate it to someone else. Now, there are, people that do it professionally that have to achieve a certain level of style. Let's call it style rather than skill. Um, but the rest of us, you don't need that. You just now I'm a professional artist, right? I don't want to downplay that. I don't want to say anyone could do what I do because it took a lot of years of practice to get this goofy. but but anyone can draw and have fun drawing and do the kind of doodles you're talking about, Jimmy. Or Lala, I know you were doing morning drawings for a while. I hope you had fun with that, and maybe you're still doing it for all I know. That would be great. Um, anyway, let's take a look one more time at what we did this week, and then we'll sign off. So we have our owl bear and an ice cream cone. We had the lich playing in the sprinkler, and we had Kenku playing on a tire swing. Three kinds of summer fun to be had in a very D&D flavor, none of which we would have had before if not for random encounters. That sounded a little spooky. I should save that for October. Anyway, I want to thank everyone who showed up today. The Lemons, David and Linnea, and I'm sure Gus was out there too. Lala, thank you. It's great to see you again, and thank you as always for coming and hanging out. I really appreciate it. Here's Jimmy. Thank you for coming and chatting. Good. I really appreciate the support. Who else was here? Scroll back. Marcus was here for a little while. Marcus, if you guys aren't following Marcus, he does a really great stream just about the about how much fun it can be. I'm talking about how much fun it can be to draw. He does a stream about how much fun it is to do live streaming, to do this kind of video making. And he has a lot of super interesting guests, so I would look him up. Marcus Schaub. I know Lala. I'll see you at all of his shows or most of his shows. He's on Facebook. You can look him up. I highly recommend it. In any case, let's see. Let me get out of this view here now and come back to just me. And I'm going to tell you that if you want to see more of what I do, a good place to look is over on Instagram, where I am under the username Stanex, Stannex. Most of my social media are under Stanex. If you go looking at most of the social media sites and you go for Stanex, about 80-90% of the time it'll turn out to be me. But Instagram is where I post all of my art. Anything that I'm going to post publicly will definitely be there and be easy to find. It's the place to go. Give it a look. If you really like what I do, and hey, who could blame you? And you want to join a community of other people that like my stuff and support it, maybe you want to consider coming over and joining my Patreon. Patreon.com/Stanex. There are several different levels you can join at. All of the everything except the $1 tip jar level. I will send you an email. I will send you roundup emails with everything that I do art-wise publicly, so that you don't have to worry about missing it if the algorithms aren't right, or you're not online for a while and you don't know whether you saw the latest thing I did. You will always get it if you sign up as a member of Stanex. At the higher levels, you get things like I was talking about making stickers before. I send stickers to the higher level patrons. And Christmas or holiday cards, usually it's a New Year's card, holiday cards, and other nice things just to say thank you. It's a community of people that like the work I do and support it and want to get a look behind the curtain. I also give a little glimpse at what my process is like. So come on over to Patreon if that thing interests you. This kind of thing interests you. We'd love to have you. In the meanwhile, I'm going to wrap it up here and maybe go get me some ice cream. I hope you all are doing well and have a good week. I will be back here again next Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for another episode of Random Encounters. Until then, thank you, be well, and have fun drawing. Bye, everyone.